Hey guys, welcome back to Matthew chapter 23. I'm so excited for this one. I absolutely love this chapter. I don't know why. It's just a challenging, raw, don't be religious chapter. It's just so good, where Jesus just really challenges us with how he sees religiosity and the lies of self-righteousness. So I'm super excited for this one. I'm gonna jump straight in. Thanks for being here. Then Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have seated themselves in the chair of Moses. Therefore, whatever they tell you, do and comply with it all, but do not do as they do. For they say things and do not do them, and they tie up heavy burdens and lay them on people's shoulders, but they themselves are unwilling to move them with so much as their finger. And they do all their deeds to be noticed by other people, for they broaden their phylacteries and lengthen the tassels of their garments, and they love the place of honor at banquets and the seats of honor in the synagogues, and personal greetings in the marketplaces, and being called rabbi by the people. But as for you, do not be called rabbi, for only one is your teacher, and you are all brothers and sisters. And do not call anyone on earth your father, for only one is your Father, he who is in heaven. And do not be called leaders, for only one is your leader, that is Christ. But the greatest of you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be exalted. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut the kingdom of heaven in front of people, for you do not enter it yourselves, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you travel around on sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, whoever swears by the temple, that is nothing, but whoever swears by the gold of the temple is obligated. You fools and blind men, which is more important, the gold or the temple that sanctified the gold? And you say, whoever swears by the altar, that is nothing, but whoever swears by the offering that is on it is obligated. You blind men, which is more important, the offering or the altar that sanctifies the offering? Therefore the one who swears by the altar swears both by the altar and by everything on it. And the one who swears by the temple swears both by the temple and by him who dwells in it. And the one who swears by heaven swears both by the throne of God and by him who sits upon it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier provisions of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness. But these are the things you should have done without neglecting the others. You blind guides who strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and of the dish, but inside they are full of robbery and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and of the dish, so that the outside of it might also become clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which on the outside appear beautiful, but inside they are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. So you too outwardly appear righteous to people, but inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you build the tombs for the prophets and decorate the monuments of the righteous. And you say, if we had been living in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partners with them in shedding the blood of the prophets. So you testify against yourselves that you are sons of those who murdered the prophets. Fill up then the measure of the guilt of your fathers. You snakes, you offspring of vipers, how will you escape the sentence of hell? Therefore, behold, I am sending you prophets and wise men and scribes. Some of them you will kill and crucify, and some of them you will flog in your synagogues and persecute from city to city, so that upon you will fall the guilt of all the righteous blood shed on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. Truly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets and stones those who have been sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you were unwilling. Behold, your house is being left to you desolate. For I say to you, from now on you will not see me until you say, Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Whoa. Really intense chapter of Jesus just challenging the religious leaders of his day. I highlighted a few things. I wanted to make this video last night, but then one of my friends came into the kitchen and started playing music and making a bunch of noise, cooking and stuff. And I was like, okay, I can't do it now. But I read it last night, and then I highlighted some stuff that stood out for me. So yeah, the first thing that I highlighted for was just the fact that about the Pharisees, right? Like they were teaching stuff but not doing it. And I'm a part of a ministry called, well, it doesn't really matter what the name of our ministry is, but just the point is that, you know, we have this value that we do first and then teach. And I mean, it's not that you always get it perfect, right? But it's just a core value of our mission, is that we don't want to be teaching people about things that we haven't done or we aren't doing. And the Pharisees, they were expecting people to live up to a certain expectation, but they themselves were not doing that, right? And I've even found myself doing that. Like I would have really high expectations for people around me in their walk with Christ, but then when I'm faced with a similar thing, suddenly I don't really want to do it, and suddenly I'm not that willing to be doing that thing. And while I was expecting it from the other person, I thought that I was doing it right, but I just wasn't in a situation where the same thing was expected of me, right? I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to say, but it's just a really big thing. So I think it's just man, maybe the main thing, someone once said, we just need to treat people the way that Jesus treats us, you know. And the Lord is really kind to me, and he's really gracious, and he works with such gentleness with me and my weakness. And honestly, I don't treat others the same way, and I should. Man, if the Lord treated me and looked at me the way that I treat some people and look at them, I'm speaking about Christians specifically, right? Sometimes I set these expectations on other believers, and I expect them to be living up to this standard. But man, if the Lord was did that with me, that would have been so hard. It would be so challenging, right? And not in a good way challenging. It would just be it would be way too much of a burden to carry. But Jesus says, come to me and I will give you rest. I will give you rest for your soul. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. And so much of my journey has been God just reminding me that he loves me, he's proud of me, and I shouldn't be so hard on myself. And I think I'm just realizing I need to also treat people the same way, right? So I'm figuring all this out as I'm literally speaking about it. So, you know, this isn't me having arrived and making a YouTube channel. I'm really also on a journey, and it's just fun. I'm reading this stuff and I'm yeah, man, I'm weak. I need to grow. I have not arrived, right? So anyway, second thing was, but woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut the kingdom of heaven in front of people. For you do not enter it yourselves, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. And even this one, I think specifically with my family, the Lord has really helped me to not do this. Because when I initially got saved, man, I would be so quick to just disqualify people from the kingdom. You know, hey bro, you're not good enough, you know. That's a really bad way to say it, but it's just you really lay all these expectations on people, and you almost shut the kingdom of heaven in their face. But me, I really love my family. I really love, I have 2 sisters, and I really love them. And Like I've really felt how God has given me his heart for them, and how gracious he is with them, and how slow to anger, how patient he is with them. And I think it's really helped me to learn how to not have these like almost like just like expectations that's just way too high, you know. Like, God really comes and he meets us where we are. And like, if someone's here and they've grown and they're here, but you're here, looking at them, you might think, oh man, like, you're just here, you have so much work to do, you know. But God is like, hey, I'm so proud of you. You were here, now you're here, you know. Like, God doesn't I don't think God compares us to each other. Yeah, so and us comparing ourselves to each other, that just steals our joy, you know. So, ooh, that's loud bike. Yeah, anyway, so I think you know, we should never disqualify people, because we aren't the ones who qualify people. Colossians says that God has qualified us for an inheritance among the saints. And if he has qualified you, he is able to make you stand. He is able to finish what he started inside of you. Who am I to say that you're not good enough? Who am I to say that you will not make it? You know, so proud of me to think that I have the right to say that. So yeah, anyway, again, it's a journey, right? We're learning. And then, yeah, I think the third thing is, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Oh yeah, so where the Lord just says like, hey, you guys clean the inside of the cup, you guys clean the outside of the cup, but on the inside you're full of robbery, self-indulgence. Clean the inside of the cup, and then the outside will be clean also. Your whitewashed tombs, which on the outside appear beautiful, but inside they're full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. Outwardly you appear righteous to people, but inwardly you're full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Man, I feel like this is just the journey of being a Christian. You know, like, I don't think we should ever be in a place where we, I don't know, think we've arrived when it comes to this stuff. Like, it's so easy to fall back on self-righteousness and justifying ourselves, trying to be religious to prove that we know God, you know. Like, I don't even know what to say about this, just that we need to know Jesus. We need to walk with him, and we need his presence, because he needs to clean our hearts. That's the main thing. The stuff on the outside, like, those things will come together as he cleans our hearts, and as we walk with him, and as he humbles us when we are in his presence, and we just see him for who he is. Like, and we cannot fix ourselves from the outside in. It has to be from the inside out. And you know, like, a lot of places in the world, I think you can see a lot of this. You can see a lot of whitewashed tombs in religion. You can see beautiful outsides, like. And I almost think that, you know, in religion, when we kind of lose the internal transformation and maybe lose relationship with God, we naturally go towards making stuff look beautiful on the outside. Because I feel like the most religious and devoted people to religion who don't know Jesus, and who, well, I shouldn't say who don't know, who maybe in general, a lot of times don't know the Lord and don't know his presence and his transformational power in our hearts. Like, they make really beautiful things on the outside. They make beautiful buildings, beautiful clothes, like it looks so beautiful, but on the inside it's dead, you know. And it's kind of the human way to try and be religious without having the true answer to internal transformation, which is Jesus. So yeah, I think man, we just need the Lord. I've even been journeying with the thing of where the Lord said he desires mercy rather than sacrifice. And I've realized that whenever I feel very zealous, my first instinct is to sacrifice things, is to either like think, man, I want to fast, man, I want to give something away. That's my first instinct when I'm in a place of zeal and just hunger. But I'm like, man, isn't the New Testament more like, hey, when you feel really zealous, how about you show hospitality? How about you show compassion? How about you show mercy and love towards weak people, towards people who are struggling? You know, like, we're so quick to choose sacrifice, and a lot of times it's just to justify ourselves. A lot of times it's to put ourselves in a position of right standing with God in our own eyes. And then sometimes we put so much effort in that we don't have any capacity left to show compassion, you know. But then we're like, yeah, but it's okay. Like, I've been fasting, so like, yeah. I was like, I've been fasting for this many days, but like, I don't want people to think that I fast for many days, man. I haven't done a fast for a couple of days in a while. But so I just didn't want to say that, and then it's like, that's not really. Anyway, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to misrepresent myself and my walk with the Lord. So, yeah, I just think that, you know, we ought to be way more leaning towards showing mercy and love and compassion to people than first leaning to sacrifice. You know, I think that's what the Lord meant. I don't know. I'm figuring it out, right? I might be wrong, but I'm figuring it out. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Matthew 23. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it made sense. I don't know if it made sense. I felt like I was speaking like all over the place, but yeah. Bless you guys. Thank you for showing up. Yeah, peace.